Welcome to this holiday edition of the Brown Initiative for Discipleship and Evangelism. My name is Ethan Brown, and this is BIDE. The Christmas season is upon us. It's December, and an unusually temperate December as I sit here on my front porch making this video for you. And it strikes me that, I don't know, maybe this video is entirely unnecessary, right? Because it seems to almost go without saying that Christmas time would be a good time to talk about the gospel. Almost everyone knows that Christmas is about the birth of Christ. And people who are not Christians, well, they may stop and think about the birth of Christ at this time of year. They may slow down and wonder about that interesting Christian narrative about God becoming flesh, about the light invading the darkness. Now, I don't know how prepared most non-Christians are to do that kind of thinking, but it strikes me that that's the kind of conversation that we could have. And that strikes me also as so patently obvious that it, like I say, it almost goes without saying, perhaps this is an unnecessary video. But I thought I would just share my thoughts on where our culture sits with this time of year. Christmas has always been a particularly special season for me. I love Advent. I love slowing down and thinking about the overall story that the gospel fits into and how the great promises of God built to this unexpected fulfillment in the birth of Jesus. I love this season of the year. Our culture does too, but for very different reasons. The other night, I went to a Christmas show at a theater, a live concert. It's a wonderful concert. I really enjoyed it. The performances are fantastic. I heard probably the best rendition of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer that I've ever heard in my life. That concert is a beautiful mixture of hymns and Christmas time songs, holiday season songs. There's even a Hanukkah song in the mix. It's a really good show. But one of the things that struck me about the show is that there were fewer carols than I might have expected, fewer songs that are actually about the birth of Christ, and an overwhelming number of songs that are Christmas songs by virtue of the fact that they are songs about Christmas, but not really songs about Christmas, if that makes any sense. They're Christmas songs, but they're not Christian songs. The song that I really enjoyed it. It's so well performed. But the song that hit me the hardest about this is this woman who stumbles out on the stage with a bottle of what's supposed to be alcohol, and she sang a song I'd never heard before. Apparently, it's a song from the 50s, but the lyrics go, "Oh, old Saint Nicholas, he looks ridiculous. Oh, what a pickle he is in. Jumpin' Jiminy, he's stuck in the chimney again." It's always chimney, not chimney, chimney. It's very funny, but not very Christmassy, really. I suppose it is Christmassy because it's about Saint Nicholas, but it's kind of America Christmas, because what America has done with Christmas is really worked so hard to go Christian light as possible about the light of the world. This is a process that's been going on for a very, very long time. I would guess about a century now. For the last 100 years, the culture has slowly worked to de-Christian Christmas. It can't really chuck Christmas. Can't throw it away. Can't drive it out. because Christmas does so much to run the American economy. Yeah, we do so much spending. We buy so much stuff at this time of year. And people who don't think twice about the baby who grew up to be a carpenter, who grew up to be the Christ, we don't, even people who never give him a second thought like to buy gifts and give them to each other and even have Christmas trees. At least some of them do. But the American economy can't really afford to lose Christmas, but it can afford to rebrand it, to recast it, and make it something else. I think it was 1934, it might have been 1938, but it was in the 1930s when a really precious, adorable movie came out called Miracle on 34th Street. And in it, a young girl who believes in Santa and insists that, yes, there really is a Santa Claus, it ends up somehow in a court case trying to prove that there's a Santa. And then it does get, well, spoilers. Anyway, it's a fun little movie. And it's a Christmas movie. Kinda. Not a lot of Jesus in that movie. I think one of my favorite movies at this time of year is Miracle on 34th Street. I love watching Jimmy Stewart run down the street of Bedford Falls, shouting hello to all the things that he had lost when he wasn't ever born. It's a fascinating movie. It's got a redemption arc. It's a redemptive story. It's not really a Christmas story. A Christmas Carol. Wonderful movie. A story that's been retold over and over again. Dickens' classic ghost story about the three ghosts who appear to the greedy miser, Ebenezer Scrooge, in a single night. There's more rich Christian themes, I suppose, in A Christmas Carol than there are in an awful lot of the pop culture Christmas stuff. But even that one, Jesus is far back in the shadows. If you watched TV growing up like I did, and you saw shows like Happy Days or Mork and Mindy, you remember that at this time of year, there had to be kind of a holiday special. But if you watch those sitcoms and TV shows over time, and you end up with shows like Grey's Anatomy or House, there'll be a Christmas episode. And the message of Christmas seems to be something along the lines of, hey, everybody, be really nice to each other. Let's bring out the best of ourselves and do the best we can to be as good as possible. And Christmas has slowly become a glad tidings, warm feelings, happy gift-giving season. And somewhere back there in the shadows, there seems to be some reason for it all. But that reason has faded over time to the point where we would sing drunkenly, "Jumpin' Jiminy, he's stuck in the chimney again." And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to be a Scrooge at Christmas time. I actually really enjoyed that song. I really love the message of be nice to each other. That's better than the message that we get an awful lot of the year. But it seems to me that we as Christians are missing a really, really wonderful opportunity if we don't grasp this season to remind folks of what it is. It seems to me that the biggest Christian response is something like a kind of shrill panic as the cultural influence of Christianity recedes and as our power diminishes over time. We find ourselves increasingly in this kind of new Rome. We cry out, "Remember the reason for the season, remember the reason for the season," which may be convincing, I suppose, to some Christians and get us up in political arms or something. But it seems to me that a wiser use of this time of year is with your friend to share with them why this is meaningful to you. Why is this an important time of year? Because the two great mysteries of the Christian faith are the incarnation and the resurrection. Those are the center of our faith. Jesus is born to be the Christ, the Son of the living God, the long-awaited Son of David, the Son of Man, born among us not as we might have anticipated. The invasion of his rebellious creation didn't come with force of arms. The angelic armies, they stayed home, and he came alone. He came quiet and unrecognized and unnoticed because he didn't come to capture and slaughter and kill. He came to love. And he came to die, killed by us, his rebellious creation, so full of selfishness and bitterness, fear and spite and hate. He came to die at our hands, that his hands might heal us. That's important. It's worth talking about, especially at this time of year when they may be further from it than once they were. It may be that in the 1800s, Christians had an easier time talking to non-Christians about the beauty of our faith at this time of year, but it's still here. The Christ in Christmas, it's there, Christ Mass, it's there in the name, and we can talk about him. And it's possible to sit down and say, I celebrate Christmas because I believe in Jesus. And I'm fine with Santa and Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman. I'm fine with walking in a winter wonderland. And I'm fine with Mariah Carey, even Wham singing about Last Christmas, although I'd rather never hear that song again. But I mean, I'm not disturbed by the way America keeps Christmas, but I want my friends to keep Christ. And I want to be able to talk about him. Any opportunity to talk about him is a good opportunity. And this time of year, it happens. If your church does a special service of any kind, some sort of gift giving to the poor or some sort of feeding opportunity, maybe a meal that you share with your community, or if you do a candlelight service, now's the time to invite your friends, to welcome them into the love of Christ, and to use that kind of thing as a jumping off point to talk about why this season was ever here to begin with. Because he came. That's why it's here. He came. Praise God, he came. Because God so loved the world that he sent Jesus. And Jesus sent us for the honor of Christ and for the life of the world.